I work specifically with the dairy plants and their fluid milk, cheese, culture products, butter, that type of thing. Well, ODI has always been a very valuable resource for training and educational. 25 years ago when I started attending ODI, it's always been a source of knowledge and a wealth of information. 25 years ago, attending ODI with Gordon Hofstetter, he owned Curly's with his brothers. We were an hour's drive away from Eugene where ODI was being held, and that was close enough that we weren't going to stay overnight. And all the way down it was talk dairy, dairy, butter, butter, cheese, cheese. Spend 2 days at ODI, driving home every night, and talk dairy, dairy, butter, butter, cheese, cheese. And after 2 days of doing this, I think, I don't think he's got any other life. This is all we've done for 2 days. There's not been any discussion of family or other activities in that. And I realized that this industry can do that. It can be so totally consuming that, and those early years I thought, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm never going to get to the other end and realize that's all I've got. And here I am at 25 years later, and if you and I went for a drive, we'd probably sit and talk dairy, dairy, butter, butter, cheese, cheese. That's kind of the extent of, you become what you do. The people that you get to know and work with with just the variety of age of people that come, as you're making new relationships, you're also watching old relationships retire and move on to another chapter of their life. And that's probably been the most memorable for me, is having spent 20 years working with somebody and watching them go through a career. And you get to know their families, or at least of their families. We all talk about our kids and grandkids, and you feel like you know them. I think I had my pasteuriser's license about the time I got my driver's license at 16. And so as the technology in the plants changed away from the old relays and mercury switches and that type of thing, it was just somebody had to do it, and the company I was with at the time wouldn't pay an outside person to do it, so it was just another cap that you wore. I remember having meetings with the health department on doing the automation control for HTST control. And it was quite a bit of things to go through to get that process done in there. And looking back, I don't think there was a lot of that going on at the time that I started doing it. Now it's pretty much everybody's doing it. The bigger challenge that I think the plants face today is more from the environmental side than it is the quality. Of course, we're all pushing for better quality and more shelf life in that. But I would say many of the customers I deal with spend as much or more on their wastewater expenses than they do on their cleaning chemical programs. And the cities and the discharges to the streams and bays is just getting so much tighter that it's really making it hard for plants to survive. The applications where they're digesting the plant waste into methane gas to feed that back to boilers, doing the zero discharge type plant applications. We're doing work with those type applications, and I think that's kind of the direction that's going to have to go if you're going to have a plant in a populated area, of being able to minimize your footprint.